Not just a daytime forecast here at the Weather Network, but of course the night sky is all important, especially when we're joined by Andrew Fazekas on a Friday. How are you doing this week?
Good, Suzanne. Nice to speak to you.
Oh, great to speak to you. An exciting week for space news. We should talk about Julie Payette, I think, right off the bat.
Yes, I mean, this is amazing. Canada's just all over in space lately in the news. And yes, Julie Payette is hopefully going to be blasting off early tomorrow morning on the shuttle Endeavour from Florida, and is set to go to the space station on over a 2-week mission, and joining fellow Canadian Robert Thirsk. So we'll have two Canadians for the very first time in history joining up in space.
Amazing, isn't it? We have shuttle liftoffs on such a regular basis now, but it still is a marvelous feat of technology. And of course, the weather is all important. The weather at liftoff time, 7:17 local time a.m. Cape Canaveral tomorrow morning, is looking good. And we're looking at our evening forecast tonight here as well, just to give some perspective on for amateur stargazers. A couple of other firsts as well, aren't there, on the space station with this arrival of Julie Payette this weekend?
That's it. We've got all the major partners that are part of the space station that are going to be on board. So you've got like the Russian, Italian, Canadian, and you have, of course, the U.S. There. I mean, it's a really, and the Japanese as well. So it's really, really going to be a crowded station because we're going to have a record of 15 people there aboard. So it's a whole population explosion on the space station.
Quite. Not for people that need a lot of privacy, that's for sure. We're going to talk about the news from the moon in a moment, but stargazing, last week it was about constellations. This week we're looking for something a little larger, planets.
That's right, and actually tomorrow morning on June 13th, Saturday morning, if you can get up in time, early birds, you've got the waning gibbous moon that's going to meet up Jupiter in the early morning. And I think we got something else here right now on the screen. We've got Venus and Mercury as well. That's going to be visible too, but that one you have all week to see. Venus and Mercury are absolutely at their best all week long. So the next clear early morning that you have, at around dawn, you look towards the east, you'll see a very bright star-like object. That's going to be Venus. And then look to the lower left of Venus and take a hard look, and you'll see Mercury there. It's a much fainter star, and this is the best time to see it now for the year because they're the farthest away from the sun right now.
And again, very bright as well. And the planets twinkle or don't twinkle?
Well, they don't twinkle really like stars do because they're a thicker band of light that penetrates through the atmosphere. The stars are much farther away, and they're a thicker band of light, so they just get dispersed in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, here on this chart, by the way, you can see where the planets are positioned in the constellations, in the two zodiac constellations, Aries, where Venus is, and then Taurus, where Mercury is. Those are the positions right now of the two planets.
Amazing view. So again, that's for early birds or for people coming home very late, I guess. The eastern sky, not too far from the horizon, Mercury and Venus, and that juxtaposition is for the next week or so. Now, it's not called a juxtaposition in space, is it, when the two planets get close together?
Well, when they come close together, that's what we call a conjunction. And that's what's going to happen tomorrow morning between Jupiter and the moon. They'll be in conjunction, very close to each other. It's a very pretty sight.
Lots to see and lots to talk about, as always. Now, space news. There's something interesting going on the moon that was actually spotted by telescopes.
Yeah, this was all a buzz on the blogs everywhere, is these Japanese probe called Kyuja, and it was supposed to end its 2-year science mission orbiting the moon by doing a kamikaze dive onto the surface of the moon.
Ouch.
And the whole idea was to be able to see it. And at 6,000 kilometers per hour, it managed to do that. And these series of images, if you look at the number 2 image on the upper right, you see a little dot in the darkness. That is the explosion in the shadowy part of the moon that was seen by a large observatory in Australia. So it was actually seen from Earth, the explosion of the satellite.
Absolutely astonishing space news. And to see that photography capturing it all is quite wonderful. It's amazing how far we've come, Andrew.
It is really amazing, and there's probably more to come. In October, NASA is going to have another satellite impact, and people with little backyard telescopes should be able to see it.
That's great. Good to talk to you as always.
Pleasure.
Have a great weekend. TheNightSkyGuide.com is where you can get more information on what to spot, when, and where to look. Stay tuned for your forecast.